Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Colleen, and today I am going to make some cinnamon rolls, and I hope that you will stick around and see how this process goes. I'll be making the dough in my bread machine, and then work on the filling after that. So I'm going to gather up the ingredients to make the dough, and I'll be right back after this. Okay, first off, I have my pan out of my bread machine. This is going to be my first run with the new bread machine, so we'll see how this goes. And the first thing that goes in there is some liquid, and I have 3/4 of a cup of milk in my measuring cup here. And you could change this and make it like 1/2 cup of milk and 1/4 cup of water, or however you like, but I just take it as rich as possible, so I'm going to use milk in this today. It's not whole milk, it's 2%, but that doesn't really matter at all. I'm going to put this in the microwave to warm it a little bit, and then we'll come back and work on this egg. Okay, this is nice and warm. I'm just going to put it into the pan. And also into the pan, we're going to need some sugar to feed the yeast, because this is a yeast dough. We need 4 tablespoons, or 1/4 cup. And normally in a bread dough, we probably only use a tablespoon or so, but we want this to be a bit sweeter dough anyway, so we're going to use that much. Now I'm going to put in the yeast, and we need 2.5 teaspoons of yeast, or 2.25, or a tablespoon. And in that goes. There we go. Now I have 1 large egg, although it doesn't seem that large. It came out of a carton that said large. I did not bring this to room temperature first. So I've left the milk a little warmer than I normally would, because this is going to cool that milk off a little bit. So there we go. And now I'm just going to dump in all the rest of the ingredients. I'll probably start with the salt. I need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Let's do it over here, because that can happen. And it did. Oh boy, oh boy. We also need 1/4 cup of butter, because as I said, this is an enriched dough to make sweet rolls with, or cinnamon buns. These are peach cinnamon buns, and they're quite delicious. Here we go. I'm just going to put this right into the pan as well, and I'm not worried about whether it's in a big lump or not. It works its way out. Here's that one down. And try and clean up a little as I go. Not that one for sure. Now, I think the last ingredient that I need, I've got is the flour. And I need 3.5 cups of flour. And I'm just using all-purpose. I am a fan of all-purpose flour. I like the way the crusts turn out better with all-purpose flour than with bread flour. But you do whatever is comfortable for you. So there's 3. And 1/2. I'm just going to double check my recipe and make sure I have all the ingredients in there, but I feel like I do. So flour, yeast, sugar, salt, milk, butter, and a large egg. So now I'm going to get this into the bread machine, and I'm going to set it on the dough cycle because that's all I want it to do is make the dough, and that'll take me about an hour and 30 minutes. The first 10 minutes the machine mixes and kneads the bread, and then after that it's just rising. It's going through its first rise, and then we'll come back after it's ready and we'll roll out the dough and get busy making these delicious peach cinnamon buns. I'll see you soon. Okay, the machine just beeped to let me know that my dough is ready. And this is my first time using my new machine, and it seems like it worked well enough. So the only thing I notice is that the top's a bit dry, which is kind of not what I'm used to, but I'm sure I'll figure that out. This dough is a little denser than I normally work with too, so I might adjust that recipe a little bit to make it a little wetter. I'm not entirely feeling this that much. Okay, so I need to roll this out to about 15 inches by 18 inches, something like that. And so far so good. I just want to give you a little report about our fire situation here. We've been under a fire watch for well over a week now, and the fire we had a couple of days where it rained quite a bit. Fortunately, with the rain came thunder and lightning, which we didn't need, but I haven't heard any reports of any new fires, so that's a good thing. And the fire crews have been working diligently and around the clock, as have all the farmers and the neighbors out in the area where the fire is burning, probably about 10 kilometers from where we live. But it can move really fast, so we're still kind of on guard, although we haven't got bags packed at the front door anymore. And it seems like the fire has died down quite a bit. The fire crews have been using helicopters, and they bucket right out of the Columbia River to get the water onto the fire. So it was pretty convenient to be so close to the river. It did jump the river at one point, and really that was the only time that I'm aware of that damage happened to structures, was when it jumped the river and then it burned up. It burned up 6 homes. So we've been really fortunate that everybody jumped right to it and didn't mess around. The BC Wildfire Service and neighbors and friends who live in the area who just said we have to do everything we can to save our own homes, and everybody jumped in and definitely went to work on it. So this is not as square as I want it to be, but it's going to work. That's one thing about making rolls, is they do not require perfection from us. So we need some softened butter, and I had to put this butter into the microwave for a few minutes, well no, seconds, just to soften it up because the air conditioner is running in our house, and so it's the butter stays really chilled as a result. I'm wondering how many of you keep butter on the counter or in the cupboard rather than in the fridge. I have never kept butter in the fridge. I've always either kept it on the counter or in the cupboard. But I know that different people have different thoughts about that. That's kind of interesting. Now we need to make up some topping to go on here. I'm going to take a half a cup of brown sugar. I'm going to try, maybe I need a spoon. And I'll use this spoon because I can't get my cup down inside there. And this is not exact. This does not need to be exact for sure. And I'm going to count that as my half cup. Use that. And then we need 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And again, this doesn't have to be exact either. Just, if you like more cinnamon, add more cinnamon. I'll get this up the way so you can see what I'm up to. And I'm just going to mix this up. Some of the brown sugar had lumps in it, so I'm just going to give it a good squish around and try and get most of the lumps out. And make sure that the cinnamon is well mixed in. There we go. Then I'm just going to scatter this on here and get it well spread out. And then I got busy chopping peaches and I cut way too many peaches, which is fine. You can have snacks after. We need about 1.5 cups of diced peaches. And I diced them up fairly small, a small dice. And I'm just going to dump them on. I'll leave about 1/2 cup in there. And spread them out. Now, these peaches, I also peeled these peaches. I didn't want to have to worry about the peach skin or the, you know, peaches have that fuzzy skin which can be tough when it's cooked. Actually, it can be tough anytime, but especially when it's cooked. So I've made a little area around the outside of the dough that I don't want to exceed because, or on, at least on one side, because I want to be able to close the gap and make a roll. And the bread won't stick to itself if there is not a gap there. So that's the reason for that. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. With 1.5 cups of peaches, they're touching each other everywhere. So that was definitely enough. Now I'm going to just start on one side. And I'm going to give it a little tug it. I'm going to turn it and give it a little pull. And turn it and give it a little pull. All the way down. Over here on my left, I have a greased. I used shortening. 9x13 pan, and I am going to cut 12 rolls out of this. This dough is actually quite a bit drier than I normally would make. So I don't know if that's the new machine or my recipe lacking or the air today or what, but it's definitely not what I'm used to. I will be adjusting that the next time that I make this. There. I can tell already I'll make it again because we love peaches here. Now, I'm just going to go about the middle. I hope you're not measuring because I am not good at that, at this eyeballing thing. And I'm going to do that again. And again. Now I have 4. Now I'm going to start cutting rolls. I'll move this over here. And I'm just going to lay the rolls in as I cut them, so they don't have to be moved for a second or third time. And hopefully you can see how much peaches there are in there. I'm sure that this recipe would work for almost any kind of fruit. You wouldn't want one that was too juicy, I don't think, but it would work for most any kind of fruit. So you could take your own cinnamon bun recipe and do the exact same thing as I'm doing here, and just be adding fruit to it. And I don't know about cutting this recipe in half. I don't think I would, because it's hard to get the components exact when you're cutting a recipe in half that's a baked good. You have to change up the cooking time. Everything has to change. So there we go. We have our peach rolls, and I'm going to just cover them with a loose kitchen towel and set them aside in a warm place, and I'm going to let them rise for about 40 minutes, and then we'll be ready for the oven. Wow, these smell delightful. This is the first time I've made this recipe, and I feel like I'm going to be making it again and again. I'm going to, I should let you know, when I put them in the oven, it was at 375 degrees, and I left them in there for 25 minutes, and they're beautiful and golden. Now I'm going to allow them to cool completely, and then I'm going to make a little glaze for the top. I'll come back and show you when I've done that, and it won't seem like long at all. Okay, these are cool. The pan is cool. It's still a little warm on the bottom, but that'll be okay. I need about a cup of icing sugar. Well, it should be a cup, not about a cup. A cup, but I think I might have a little more than that in there. I need about a teaspoon. This is a dessert spoon, so a bit bigger. I think the recipe calls for just a half a teaspoon of vanilla, but I do enjoy the vanilla. And then we're going to need 2 to 3 tablespoons of water, just to help bring the glaze together. Now I've just put 2 in there, and as I said, those are just dessert spoons. Not. Move this out of the way. And I definitely need another spoonful. Of course, I have the spoon dirty now. And get this stirred up. See how that works. I want to be able to sort of drizzle it. And these smell so good. I think they taste as good as they smell. Now, I think that's got it mixed. I'm going to put that one in the sink. I'll hold this one in case I do need it. I thought maybe I could just use my whisk to just do this. And I think that's going to work out just fine. My hope is, and I hope you'll stick around to watch, my hope is that that these will taste as good in real life as I feel like they will in my mind, if that makes sense. Because I do love cinnamon buns and peaches. So hopefully that works out. I just need, so I'm just going to cut one of them out of here. And I'm happy I greased the pan because it seems like they're going to come out really well. I think that next time, if I make this recipe again, or if I make peach cinnamon rolls again, I'll use my cinnamon roll recipe that I already have on my YouTube channel, because I enjoy the texture of it very much. I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to taste the peaches. Let's put this down so we can cut it properly. You can definitely taste the peaches. Oh yeah, that's good. I will make it again, but I will make it with my original cinnamon roll dough, because this one's a little more dense, or maybe it's just my new bread machine and I haven't learned to like each other yet. But I think that the dough needs a little more moisture in it. So if you're going to make this particular recipe, make sure you maybe add 2 more tablespoons of milk to the bowl when you're making the recipe. Yep, it's good, folks. I will definitely do this again. And I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you have, that you will give it a like and a thumbs up. Comment if you've got the time. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And for those of you that are already watching and subscribed, maybe you haven't hit that little bell yet, so you don't get to see me as often as you would maybe like to. So go back and make sure that where you've subscribed, you hit the little ball and hit the bell, not the ball, the bell, and hit all, so that every time I put up a new video, you're notified of it. Thanks for watching today, everybody, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.